One of my all-time favorite book series is The Lincoln Lawyer by Michael Connelly. My second favorite TV show is The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. And the fourth movie on my Letterboxd top 4 is Brad Furman's The Lincoln Lawyer, released in 2011 starring Matthew McConaughey. You can see where this is going. I love the characters and how they interact with one another. The cases are interesting and sometimes cynical or heartbreaking, and all three forms of media do a great job of making you feel as if you're in LA as well. Also along for the ride. I want to talk about the show and movie, but not about the accuracy of the plot, although I will mention it a little bit. I want to talk about the accuracy of the characterization. I feel the thing that makes the Lincoln Lawyer so special and so good is the characters, and I really want to take a deep dive into them. I'll be focusing on 4 characters, or 5, because I'll be focusing on both the drivers, Izzy from the show and Earl from the movie. I'll be focusing on Lorna, Mickey's personal assistant, Maggie McPherson, his first ex-wife, and of course the titular character, the Lincoln Lawyer, Michael J. Haller, or Mickey Haller as they call him in both the movie, show, and book. The first driver I'll be talking about is Earl. Earl's in the movie and also in the book, so I like how they kept that character the same. And one thing I really like about his character is that he knows what Mickey does behind the scenes. He knows that Mickey pays the biker gangs. He knows that Mickey pays the reporters or the camera people to scrub video or pretend to be filming video. He knows all the crime that Mickey does behind the scenes, and he also drives Mickey around 24/7 because on the contrary, in the TV show, the driver is Izzy, who is not a character in the books. She was a character written solely for the show. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love her character and I love how they gave her her own storyline. But at the same time, she's kind of oblivious to what Mickey does, which makes sense because when Mickey does something suspicious, he drives his own car, while in the movie, no matter what Mickey does, Earl is driving him. So it makes sense that Izzy would be a little bit oblivious. Plus, she's a young girl, and Mickey states how he wants her to go on and be good and do good things with herself, while in the movie, Earl is driving around Mickey to pay off his legal fees, which Izzy's also doing the same thing. But I think she does pay off his legal fees, but then continues driving for him anyway because she likes the job. And she goes on to work as Lorna's assistant and works in his office. So I like how they kept her as a character. But I do really appreciate Earl being kind of Mickey's little sidekick who just sits in the car and drives him around. Next, I want to talk about Lorna, and I have so much to say about Lorna. In the movie, she does absolutely nothing. Like, I understand there's not that much source material from the book, but she's genuinely useless. She shows up 5 times. I counted. She shows up 5 times in the movie, and every single time she just shows up whatever Mickey needs, hands it to him, walks away. That's it. I think she shows up for a total of 30 seconds in her 5 appearances. She's useless. Absolutely useless. However, I love Lorna in the show. She is my favorite character. She's important. She goes to court with Mickey, tracks people down, sometimes collects evidence, and works with Cisco, who's another one of my favorite characters. He's in the books and show, not in the movie though. And she gets stuff done, and when Mickey is out of his mind, she keeps him in check, and she helps Izzy out when she was struggling. And she's actually going to law school, I think, to either be a paralegal or a lawyer. And she's not just an assistant, she's an actual secretary, and she works for the office, and she keeps his whole practice running. If she wasn't there, it would all fall apart. And in the books, the first 3, she's kind of unimportant, and she kind of acts like how she does in the movie. But book 4 and on, she gets way more of a role, and I just love that. My opinion of Maggie McPherson, or McPherce as they call her in the show, movie, and book, is all over the place. Like, I don't know what to think of this character. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, get over her, Mickey. Or sometimes I'm like, get back together. It's just, she's just such a strange character. Like, you can't love her, but you also can't really hate her because sometimes her opinions are valid. And it doesn't help that the movie and show adaptation of her are so different. Like, in the movie, she's so nice to Mickey, and they're always hanging out, and they're at the bar together, and they're like genuine friends. But in the show, she hates him. Like, she hates him. Every time he asks for help, she's like, no, I'm not gonna help you. I'm in the DA's office. No, 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 don't ask me for help. And then, like in the movie, at first she says no, and then she ends up helping him out anyway. And it's in the book, it's the same way. She low-key hates him in the book too, and she's always saying no to him. I think she hates him the most in the book, and it's just so strange. Like, she tolerates him sometimes because they have a kid together, but other than that, she's supposed to be hating him. But in the movie, I don't really know which adaptation I like better. The show is more accurate because she low-key be hating him sometimes, but I do appreciate how in the movie they don't have that weird, rough relationship, so he can kind of go on with his life, not having to worry about her as one of his problems, which she is one of his problems in the show, in the book, so it kind of takes away an obstacle for Mickey, which I kind of like. But other than that, I don't really know which one is better. They're both kind of weird. And finally, I'm going to talk about the last character, Mickey J. Haller, aka the Lincoln Lawyer. And first, I want to give props to both Matthew McConaughey and Manuel Garcia Rufo for doing a fantastic job of portraying one of my favorite characters in one of my favorite book series. The first thing I want to mention is the potential elephant in the room, and that is Matthew McConaughey is white. Mickey Haller in the movie is white. And you might be wondering why that's important. And that's because in the book series, Mickey's supposed to be half white, half Mexican, but he was raised by his Mexican mother, Spanish-speaking Mexican mother, because his father died when he was really young. In the show, Mickey is Hispanic, speaks Spanish, and the actor who plays Mickey is actually a Mexican actor. However, Matthew McConaughey being white doesn't really take me out of the character because his ethnicity has nothing to do with the plot. But secondly, I want to talk about the accents in the movie because for some reason, everybody has an accent. It's so strange. Like, why does everybody speak so weird? I think they're trying to portray the LA accent of 2011, which is when the movie was made and released, or they're trying to portray the LA accent of 2005, which is when the book was released. And the most important thing I want to talk about is how they interact with other people. In my notes, I put that movie Mickey is kind of evil, and I put that because he be doing illegal things. Like, makes enemies with every other person he meets, and he's not very friendly towards his own clients sometimes. Which the client in the movie, I mean, he deserves some of the attitude Mickey was giving him. But at the same time, Mickey just be going at everybody for no reason sometimes. But in the show, he's way more mellow because it takes place way later in his career when he's done with all of that illegalness and recklessness that Mickey was doing in the movie. And building on to that, he's not very friendly with cops in the movie.
How does someone like you sleep at night with all the scum you represent?
He always has cops on his back, and when his investigator dies, the cop thinks he may have done it, and the cops are on his back for other reasons. And I'm like, yo, the cops are on your back for a reason. It's because you pissed them off. But in the show, he actually have cop informant friends who give him inside information when he needs it. And he doesn't always have cops looking into his house 24/7, which is nice because it takes away an obstacle, a problem for him to go on and solve his cases and, represent his clients. But I think a big part of why the two Mickeys are so different is because in the movie, he has no support system. The only friends he has is his ex-wife, his assistant Lorna, who I mentioned before is useless, and his investigator who gets killed halfway through. So half the movie is spent him running around by himself, getting targeted by himself with no one else to call, no one else to help him out. He's just all alone. But in the show, every time something big happens, he has Lorna there to help him. He has Cisco, who's an investigator in the show. He has Izzy, his driver. He even has his mom, who makes an appearance, I think, in season 2 of the show. And finally, the biggest gripe that I have with the movie is the opening statement. In the book, Michael Connelly makes it very clear that Mickey Hall is supposed to be really good at giving opening statements. He claims it's like the first thing the jury sees of you and the first thing they hear from you, so it needs to be the best thing you ever done. But the opening statement in the movie was absolutely atrocious, and if I ever heard that in real life and I was on the jury, I would instantly give a guilty verdict without ever hearing the evidence. However, that's not really a big part of the movie, and the opening statement was like less than 20 seconds long. They made it very short, very succinct. I think they even started halfway through or towards the end. So it's not a really big thing that makes me go, oh, this movie sucks. But I really wanted to mention it because it is very obvious if you're a lawyer and interested in the law that opening statement was absolutely trash. That's really all I have to say about the Lincoln Lawyer show and the Lincoln Lawyer movie. I enjoy both of them. I think they're both amazing, and I really can't tell you which one I enjoy more. I think they both have pros and they both have a little bit of cons that make one might seem better than the other, but overall, Brad Furman and Netflix did amazing jobs adapting Micah Connelly's book, The Lincoln Lawyer, into a show and movie, and I think everybody should go watch it. And I highly recommend both of them. But that's all I have to say about them.